Nerd reactor, roll out.
Hi, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Good to meet you, Ashley.
Good to meet you too. I'm really excited to talk all about Huxley and everything with the new release. I guess just as a jumping off point, maybe explain kind of an overview of what the world of Huxley is all about and kind of why you decided to do a prequel series.
Sure. Huxley takes place on a post-apocalyptic planet called Fury 7. The original graphic novel is maybe 30 to 40 years in the future from the Oracle book that's launching now. Um, and the setting is really sort of what is humanity's place in a future that is dominated by machines and artificial intelligence? Um, I've been thinking about this for many years, like working in film and stuff, having to imagine like a far science fiction future. So it's interesting that we're kind of getting close to early stages of this in our life. So I think it's more and more relevant now with some of these stories that I've written. It's been cool to see where all this is going and imagine some very far future scenarios of what humanity does, how they live in this world, how they find purpose, how they find meaning. I think it's a really kind of sort of an endlessly fascinating setting for science fiction.
Yeah, and that's really interesting to hear that it came to you kind of partially inspired by just seeing how it was unfolding in real time because it's changing so much and so rapidly.
Right. Yeah.
What would you say is maybe a good introduction point to either maybe someone who hasn't read a ton of graphic novels or just to your work in general, to the series, or both?
Um, I mean, both could be quite good, but maybe the Oracle is a good starting point because it's much more of the original Huxley graphic novel is very much a European style graphic novel series, and the Oracle is much more of a illustrated novel, sort of in the vein of Simon Hogg type books. Quite a big book, so it's almost like reading a movie in a way. Really big illustrations, beautifully illustrated. Um, so that might be an interesting starting point, and they can kind of you can kind of dive deeper into the other stories from there.
What do you think are maybe some misconceptions about graphic novels in general for people who haven't read any?
Hmm. I mean, I guess there's always the age old like maybe being viewed as not as high art as like a movie or film or something like this. But I feel like there's some incredible stories and things told in graphic novel medium and mangas and um, like height of artistic achievement and storytelling can be found, I feel, uh, in a lot of these graphic novel stories.
How long does it typically, I mean, I know it can vary depending on the length, but from start to finish, like how long were you working on just this installment of the series?
Right. Very long. Oh, the new one, the Oracle, was definitely less time. That was maybe a bit over a year. This is a bit more of a team effort with two of my illustrators, Steve Chin Swan Wang and Nicholas Gecko, and myself, and a little bit of work from director Siama Pedersen. Um, so this is definitely a bit faster process, maybe over a year or two, instead of me doing it all myself, which took almost 10 years for the first one.
Wow.
So I'd love to do that again. I'm planning on, at some point to do another one myself, but I don't want people to wait a decade for another part of the story. So um, yeah, and I think it's good to. I'm trying to craft each book uh, in a certain like I want the book type to echo the story that's being told. So the Oracle is a much more of a gritty war story, soldier story, and I think the more beautiful, detailed illustrations help bring the reader into this kind of world more. Whereas Huxley's a bit further in the future, and the illustrative style kind of lends to that story more, I think, as well. And it is where all the original designs came from, just pencil on paper and illustrating it by hand. So it's each book and story offers a unique experience, I think, and brings you into the Huxley universe in different ways.
Did you always know that you wanted to be a graphic novelist? Has this always been your path?
Not necessarily. I think originally, I mean, I grew up on like mangas and European uh, graphic novels and like heavy metal and stuff, and American comic books as well. But I'm not sure if I ever was like, I think originally I wanted to work in video games, and then it led me into working in films and then falling in love with storytelling. And a lot of the movies I worked on, I'd have to illustrate moments of the story, and you get good at working with the director. He's like, I want this kind of moment. I need a close up of this character's face as the hero is holding their friend that died, and then you have to create this drama and create an emotion in the viewer that hopefully is so powerful that ends up in the final film. And um, that was really good, like training ground to get better at storytelling and visual storytelling. So when I did start working on Huxley, it wasn't as hard as just starting without any experience. And hopefully when you read the books, it feels like almost like watching a movie or watching a story or watching a TV series or something unfold, because of having to do that for so many years for directors and series and films and things.
So you've worked on other series as well, and I wanted to ask you about Halo specifically. What was it
Mhm.
like working on Halo and creating and contributing to that world?
That was kind of a dream come true, actually. So originally, the reason I wanted to be an artist in high school is because I was so obsessed with Halo. And the reason originally I went to a 3D animation school in Seattle because I really just wanted to create levels in architecture for Halo, specifically the silver Forerunner architecture. And I just thought that would be so cool to make architecture and levels for those games. That ended up leading me being really interested in design, and then kind of ended up in the film industry for a lot of years, and then eventually went back to Seattle and worked on Halo Infinite. And I got to work on the Forerunner architecture and making sort of helping to define the sort of legacy, uh, more detailed legacy looking Forerunner architecture and designs that were in Halo Infinite. So it was like a total full circle moment. My 16-year-old self was very excited for, yeah, getting to tick that box. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I know you worked on Call of Duty as well. What is it like working on, such an already established popular franchise versus creating your own world?
Right. Um, it's interesting. I mean, a lot of working in film was a balance of that too, where it's like working on Amazing Spider-Man 2, it's like here's the panel from the comic, make a more detailed version of this web shooter or something, or Call of Duty and Halo, where it is very established, and you have to the target you have to work within is limited, but that's also kind of fun as well. Call of Duty was a little more freedom because each one I worked on was trying something different. And like the first one was Advanced Warfare, so it was like, how do we take Call of Duty into the future? And working on so many sci-fi films, that was a fun. There's a little more freedom there. Just what kind of gear would soldiers have in the future? Let me come up with all these ideas. Maybe it's too far, maybe it's not. And then Black Ops 3 and 4 were kind of in between there, where it's even more futuristic and maybe toned down. So yeah, it's always a fun challenge, but I think that's part of being an artist. And but then going to your own stuff, you kind of can let the guardrails off a bit more. Like, what do I want to do? Because they've had me working within this target for so long, so it gets you. It gets you thinking about things that you want to do because no one's asking you to do. And I think that's one of the more important things for an artist to create something of their own is I want to make something that no one else has done or no one will do because they're not me. Like, what is the movie or what is the story I want to see in the theater that no one else is telling, and make that story, make that book, make that video game or something. And I think that's a great sort of spark to go create for yourself.
Well, finally, before we wrap up, I know tomorrow is the official launch date for Huxley the Oracle. What are you most excited about just for it to be out in the world?
I think just seeing it into people's bookshelves and people's lives, it's a really cool, gritty kind of story, and I'm excited to see that help expand into different fan bases and different readers who like this type of thing, maybe over a traditional graphic novel or something like traditional graphic novels, exploring something new as well. I think it'll has a lot to offer. Yeah.
And do you want to remind everyone where they can purchase it and where they can follow you?
Sure. Yeah, early hardcovers, the Oracle are shipping now. The public version on Amazon and bookstores is launching UK tomorrow, and in the US, worldwide on Amazon and bookstores around December 2nd. And you can follow anything about Huxley on huxleysaga.com and my personal information on benmaurodesign.com.
Awesome. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for chatting with me.
Thanks so much, Ashley.